Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see me and our screen here. Please feel free to enter in the chat if you have any technical difficulties there. We'll do our best to try to get you up and going. But I just want to give everybody an official welcome to the Monsen Engineering and Building Point Intermountain 30th Annual Users Group. So this has always been a real highlight for us. We think a lot about this meeting for months leading up to it and really try to fill this time with meaningful and innovative content for you, our end users. We've always called this a users group. And so even though we have the time filled with presentations, we really encourage interaction and questions. And for the most part, you'll be able to enter those questions into the chat as we go along. For the most part, also your mics will be muted, but we can unmute you if you would rather, have a regular conversation. But for the most part, you'll be entering those questions into the chat, and we'll do our best to try to get those answered. Might even be able to do it real time. Let me just go through a few items. First of all, I want to thank my colleague here, Emily Chamberlain. And we've been a team doing this for a long time, and she is really our technical person. She's the person that we need to give all the credit to as far as all the invitations and all the other little details as far as our raffle or giveaways and the social media aspects to how we put together this users group. Just go over the agenda really quick. This is the first time that we're doing a Monsen Engineering Geospatial coupled with a Building Point Intermountain users group. So the way the agenda will go is two halves. The first half of the day will be geospatial, and the second half of the day will be Building Point. So a quick rundown of the agenda. We'll start off with a keynote address about economical outlooks and perspectives from Trimble and from you as our users. Then we'll go into some specific presentations on the new Trimble data collectors, Trimble Connect. We will have a break in there around the 10:30 time frame. And after our break, we will talk about the Trimble X9 scanner, some new improvements there, some fill to finish discussions relative to Trimble Business Center, and then some more discussions about some of our United products, the TMR, the Tiny Mobile Robot, and Emison scanner. Along the way, I'll introduce those presenters, but that will take us to our lunch break, after which we'll go into the Building Point portion. So all the geospatial people on there, which I think we had over 200 people that signed up for the geospatial portion. Basically at half day, you'll be done unless you'd like to join on to some of the Building Point presentations. But we'll be talking about different software and some other different functionalities, not as relevant to the geospatial side after the midday point. That's our agenda. We will be, like I mentioned, having breaks. After each presentation, we will have a break in which we will go over some questions that we put to the group. We'll put the questions out to the group right after that presentation, and those questions will be relevant to the presentation that you just barely were a part of. It's important that you answer those questions because we utilize those that take part in our survey and questions in terms of how we give away our prizes. And we have dozens of great prizes to give away. These prizes are like gift cards, water bottles. There's some really nice ones in there, like construction kits, which would include like a hard hat and a vest. And then also we'll utilize our attendee list to come up with our grand prize giveaway, which is, I believe, a couple of Yeti coolers. And so you'll need to stay tuned until the very end when we actually give away those grand prizes. So, and we should be able to give away a bunch of prizes to all the attendees. So, or to a lot of the attendees. So stay tuned and make sure that you take part in those questions. A real quick safety share. Just want to make sure that everybody in whatever building that you're in, that you know where your emergency exits are. Make sure that you take the breaks that you need, stand up, stretch, and utilize the breaks that we have in there so that you can stay fresh throughout the whole presentation. Next item, continuing ed. There's a lot of people on the conference here that will want continuing ed certificates. You should have noted your need for that when you signed up. And so Emily is taking note of that, and you will be getting your email, or you will be getting your certificates mailed to you after the conference. Oh, emailed? An emailed certificate. So if we've forgot about you, or if you figure that you need that certificate, then just please let us know, and we can get you one of those certificates. And I think it's for 4 hours.
That's right.
Yeah, 4 hours for each one of the 2 halves of the day. All right. We also record everything that we're doing today. So just know that when you receive your certificate, you'll receive a link to the recorded session. And so at any time, you'll be able to get on and re-listen to the presentations that are going to be offered today. All right. I think that's everything that we wanted to talk about. My name is Troy Langston, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. I'll be walking you through the conference today, and this is always a joy for me. And I think we've been doing this for not too long, just about 25 to 27 years, something like that. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Our first presenter is Stephanie. Stephanie, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly here. Michaud, is that correct?
Michaud, almost, you got it.
Oh boy.
That's all right.
I would say it was about a 50-50 there. Thanks, Stephanie, for being on here. Just a quick note about Stephanie. She is the Director of Product Management for Trimble, field software for the field systems sector at Trimble Incorporated. She's responsible for activities related to product strategy, development, and execution of new product introductions spanning survey and the vertical construction product portfolios. During her 15-year tenure at Trimble, she has also held technical roles in the land administration and agricultural groups. Stephanie has recently been appointed as Trimble's representative on the World Geospatial Industry Council and holds a degree in geomatics engineering from the University of Calgary in Canada. So it's so great having Stephanie here. She's going to be talking to us about some key insights into our industry, navigating the future, and the different economical and all the different aspects of some future considerations. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here today.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy, for such a nice introduction. Really appreciate everyone joining today, and good morning. When Troy asked me to put together the session for you this morning, he was like, what are we looking for? Like, what are the trends happening? Like, what does Trimble look at when it comes to actually creating our products? And what are we keeping an eye on, or things to watch, and how are we adjusting our business? And so that's what I've prepared for you today. And I'm looking for, it was enjoyable for me to kind of review what is normally in tabular format or in, PDF, and put this into a presentation. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy creating it for you today, because I do think it's quite interesting to look at in a presentation in this way. So what I'll cover today will be, what we're looking at and what the 2026 landscape has in store for us. And Troy, if you could just let me know quickly, the slides are showing. Hopefully that will work good, or let me know if they're not.
We can
Um,
see them good, Stephanie. They're looking great.
Perfect. Great, thank you. Yeah, so I'll cover the landscape and what we're looking at for this year. I mean, we're starting off at the year, so there's a good time to kind of plan and prepare. And so I think for the user group happening right here in January, I think this is a good time to think of how we can react and respond. And then I'm going to get into some challenges, some things we're noticing and that we've been tracking. And those are particular to personnel and training, but also to digital transformation. And of course, with challenges, there are always opportunities. And so I'll cover a couple of those here, just from more of a high level. The session schedule that Troy and Emily have put together for you is full of more detail on especially these challenges and opportunities. So I hope this sets the stage nicely for you to then go into these more detailed sessions with this kind of common frame and mindset to tackle them. And I'll finish off with some recommendations as well for the audience based on kind of that summary. So to start out, what is shaping our industry? What are some of the trends that Trimble and our organization as a whole should be looking at and paying attention to? Something that I often find is the pace of innovation is increasing quite rapidly. And with that come our demand for faster processes, but also analysis and decision making. So we are used to, in our consumer world, having things at our fingertips, and that is not only a consumer trait, but also something that's permeating into our technology and innovation as well. If we have this on our consumer side of things, why wouldn't we also have it in our technology we use for professional applications? As a result, because we are in this kind of on-demand world, there's also a desire for collaboration and sharing. It's no longer just sole responsibility to just one person. It's often distributed, whether amongst a crew or multiple crews or multiple contractors or multiple companies all working together to execute on a project. And we see demand for how to make that easier and how to make your data more interoperable amongst these different teams. And that often the solution for that is rooted in using some form of cloud technology. And then the final trend that we see is that no longer are we talking about point data capture, point line area, discrete things. We're talking about capturing things in rapid formation in a really fast paced real world scenario. And so reality capture technologies have started to fill that void of, well, we don't need to just do things individually. We can do things and capture things in an entire scene in minutes as opposed to requiring hours to do so. So when we think about those trends, again, the drivers for those trends are things like real time and immediacy is no longer just, a nice to have, it becomes expected. And with digital technology being more readily available, it's also becoming more capable and it's more affordable. So now we're starting to incorporate these technologies, not just from a consumer lens, but also on the professional side as well. And as we are, of course, seeing the increase in the volume of data we're capturing, the complexity is also increasing because now you have just massive terabytes, petabytes of data as opposed to megabytes. So that requires analysis, it requires rigor, it requires repeatability, consistency. And so that is also part of, driving some of these trends also. So when I think about the path forward and how we're going to shape the industry, we need to address challenges of one, supporting with personnel and staff who are able to adopt to these trends, and also be more capable of adopting new technologies. And when we think about upskilling ourselves, our teams, our people to be able to handle these trends and drivers, sometimes it also requires a reflection on what are some of the workflows that I can streamline and optimize for myself as well, right? Not just myself, but the organization too. And The good news is that our industry is very much ready for a transformation. And you'll see throughout this presentation, I've pulled statistics from a couple of different reports. I've tried to link those as much as possible. These reports come from global, also regional, and then even what Trimble does with our individual user groups as well. But this first statistic comes from the World Economic Forum, which is talking about specifically in building construction, geospatial industries, the current skill requirements of our team members that are working in this space today will need to evolve. Almost half of that will need to evolve. So we have to be prepared as leaders in this space to support that level of adoption and training that will be required for our staff. The good news is that knowing that these changes are coming, there's also significant opportunity. So our investment in time and training and upskilling ourselves and our teams will be worth it. According to like a GeoBiz report, we're getting into over $1 trillion of opportunity in the space by 2030. So geospatial technology, data, information provides the foundation of so many industries and will support the transformation of those. So, while it might seem daunting as okay, we have a lot of work to do in order to seize the opportunity, the value and the payoff is worth it as we look towards 2026, but also the next 5 years as well. So let's get into some of those challenges, because how are we going to meet those, and what are some of the predictions that we're seeing on the Trimble side that I want to share with you today, and also some insights as well. So talk about personnel shortages. In the US alone, the statistic here is that, we are facing an aging workforce where we're expecting significant amount of retirements. 41% of our workforce will be looking to retire by 2031 in the next 5 years. That's one challenge. But then also we have just a shortage of skilled personnel, as we talked about. How do we make sure that we're able to adapt to these changes and find the new skills? That's where the opportunity comes here. And the prediction here that Trimble has been looking at is that this is really an opportunity for proactive training initiatives and for companies to begin investing in programs to upskill new hires. The interesting aspect of this is that those who are in our industry today, about 58% of them, are also looking for this future opportunity as well. So though we are facing this challenge of labor shortage, we also have a willing workforce who is looking to be the future and look for opportunities to upskill themselves. So when it looks at adopting new technology within your business, great opportunity to frame for your staff who are the future of the company and driving your large projects and the company forward, opportunity to upskill them as a career growth opportunity as well. A second challenge we see, and maybe some of you have experienced this yourself. I mean, I individually, everyone is always, as part of change is hard. You have to reassess and look at how you're operating. And sometimes, there's a little bit of resistance. And we see this with, in particular, digital transformation. Our industry was founded and, based on a lot of pen and paper workflows being on site on the ground. And so it's natural that we gravitate to that tactile feeling and sense of what the physical is. But the reality is the nature of our work requires us to bring things increasingly more to digital representation. At Trimble, we talk about capturing the physical and creating the digital representation of it and bridging the gap between those two things. It's critical in order for us to do that. We have to begin looking at new technologies in order to do that. And so we're starting to see a shift in that while some companies, 34% of them, might be a little bit reluctant to invest in new technologies, they are seeing a benefit when they do so. And that is directly tied to revenue growth and also projects being delivered on time and execution. So that trend has been happening, but we're starting to see it ramp more and more, in particular because some of our local, regional, and federal legislation in different organizations around the world is starting to require this level of digital acumen and knowledge. So this is a great opportunity to embrace digital solutions. And again, coming back to that previous challenge of personnel, tying that to those who are looking for growth opportunities to begin upskilling in things like reality capture, BIM, etc., and begin getting involved in that. So with challenges always come opportunities. And so leading into some of the opportunities that we see in particular are expanding reality capture data. So talking about we're moving from that discrete point capture now into large scale, high speed, entire scene or entire project data capture. That's really being aided by the use of reality capture tools, in particular when we talk about laser scanning, but also SLAM and other technologies for more mobile scanning as well, whether it's mobile mapping or handheld. So going forward, our prediction has been the just increasing demand for these technologies and wanting to begin to work and leverage this data in a way to get to decisions and deliverables faster. With the creation and the ability of these technologies to be more accessible to our teams and our customers, that means that we also have to get better at what are we looking at? What are we seeing? And how can we make sense of it and get to deliverables? And that's where one of the key areas of focus has been at Trimble around looking at how can we use AI and machine learning in order to make sense and filter through some of that information and get to decisions faster. In a Trimble survey that we had just conducted last year, we found that 44% of our respondents wanted to get more into 3D laser scanning surveys. So we see the desire and the aptitude wanting to build. And so this is a great opportunity for you to begin looking at where are some projects where I could start deploying this technology in order to streamline data capture and improve project accuracy, capturing entire scenes versus discrete points. Another opportunity we see, so again, that demand as one of those key drivers I was speaking to was talking about the desire for connectivity, for sharing information, for having things accessible, current, and secure. And so cloud solutions have increasingly become the tool by which we are delivering and achieving that. And part of the reason is through, an agnostic cloud solution, you're able to connect various tools and systems together in a way that is hopefully less arduous than if you were exporting to a USB stick or doing some sort of data export between different formats, etc. So the prediction that we see here is that we will expect a greater reliance on cloud solutions for data management and project collaboration. And that is mostly because we're starting to see the demand for real time. And that's coming from as consumers, you're expecting to understand and know what's going on immediately. And that's just trending exactly into our projects as well. Why should you wait? You're not used to waiting normally. So why should you wait for your updated files and projects either? So this is a great opportunity, and I know that there's a session later today as well talking about our field to office, back to fields, field to finish workflows. That's a great low-hanging opportunity to start looking at how you can share your geospatial information across field and office and then back again in order to ensure that you're being efficient with moving your data and you're not losing information in between those different steps. So some trends and drivers that I just want to draw your attention to. One of the things that I feel like is totally a buzzword in this industry right now is artificial intelligence and AI. So, how can we continue to, everyone asks me often, what role will AI play? What tools is Trimble developing with AI? And, what I want to frame here for this audience is that AI is just another tool that we have in the toolbox in order for us to work with geospatial data. And where I see it being important is in looking at data analysis and then getting to a point where we can make our decisions a little bit clearer. So AI is something that we use internally in some of our products. in order to automate repetitive tasks and also to improve with quality assurance and control. Because if it's something with a person, there's always an opportunity for a manual error, but not necessarily needed to be a person looking at that. If you're looking to, say, extract specific features from a large 3D scan or mobile mapping data set, there's some certain items of that workflow you can automate so that as a human, you can review those pieces and confirm that without having to, say, select every signpost on thousands of kilometers of highway. So some of the applications at Trimble where we're using AI include feature extraction. They also include point cloud classification or change detection between scans. It can also be some things like automating some modeling aspects as well within your data. And this on the right-hand side of the screen here, there's a couple of different impacts here. And so when we kind of surveyed our selection of customers, what were some of the impacts, the top one being AI machine learning, but also, increased use of UAV and drones, which is another way of reality capture, essentially. But then also the piece of labor and who's going to do this work and how will we develop the employees of the future. And something that I also wanted to share, and as director of product management specifically for field software, this is important for me and my team and something that I'm always considering, is that we are investing significantly on ease of use and user experience, or UI UX, which is essentially the way in which we interact with our software and how it either makes sense or does not make sense at all when we're working in the field. And a big part of addressing some of those challenges, adopting new technologies, digital workflows, training new staff, is making sure it's actually easy to use and it's intuitive. We can have the greatest piece of innovation in terms of a new hardware tool or scanner or GNSS, but if you can't figure out which buttons to press in order to take advantage of a tilt measurement or to complete your scan with colorized point cloud and photos, then it doesn't really work for you, right? And so something that my team and Trimble as a whole is committed to as part of these trends is ensuring that whatever innovation we're creating is matched with an ease of use and experience that equips you and anyone in our industry with the knowledge and skills to navigate that complexity. So that's a big focus, what we're investing in right now, in particular in software. So to kind of summarize like where we're looking at and where we're driving, and some recommendations that I have for this audience around staying competitive. The first one I think here is prioritizing training and skill development. So we know that we're going to need more people to do the amount of jobs. And so we are going to have to invest in opportunities to build proficiency in new technologies. Today is a great first step. You're here learning about all the different pieces that Monsen and team offer. And so it's a great first step to begin upskilling your team members. Number two is leveraging cloud solutions. So embracing digital workflows to reduce siloed data, I think, is just the first point of contact. And you can look into later this today in order to see kind of some examples of how you can do that. And in some scenarios where you might already have the tools, you just aren't leveraging them to their full potential just yet. Number three, and I know there's also a session on this one, it's not a coincidence, is also expanding reality capture usage. There's likely areas in your business that could benefit from this type of rapid data collection as a starting point in order to boost efficiency. And then finally, I would encourage you, whether it's in your emailing platform or in your geospatial technology, to look and investigate where automation could support you. Remember, AI is just a tool. We are responsible for determining how it can be best deployed. And so if you can identify repetitive tasks or things that you do on a regular basis that could be automated, that's an opportunity to improve accuracy, but also free up your own mental bandwidth to do the other things that are of higher importance or require a little bit more focus. So in conclusion for today, our industry is really on the cusp of a big transformation. There's a huge amount of opportunities with some of the technological advancements we're seeing. I really think it's a great opportunity for us. And today, I think, is a great first step in embracing and seizing the opportunities that I've laid out for you today. So I really look forward to seeing how your feedback from the sessions that happen later today. And I, of course, welcome any questions that you might have around the statistics or some of the predictions that I've shared with you today. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.